Hello. As it says on the screen, I'm Sally Callow, Managing Director of Stripey Lightbulb CIC. Now, for the past 9 months plus, representing the ME community, Stripey Lightbulb has taken part in various government, DWP meetings. They could be research-based, all sorts. It's taken up an awful lot of our time, and it surrounds the reform of the welfare state. However, we're now going to refer to that as welfare cuts because that's what it is. There is no reform there because their processes need changing, not just, we're going to take all this money off of vulnerable people. And I've posted this quite a bit just lately. The fact that any DWP meeting, we're told we do not want condition-specific suggestions and recommendations frequently, which is ridiculous because we and other organisations that represent other illnesses strongly believe that that's the only way forward, and that's what this video is about, I guess, because with ME, we've got something called post-exertional malaise. It's very specific to ME, and that is the reason that 75% cannot physically work, because what you can do on one day isn't, you can't replicate it 2 days, 3 days later. So the existing assessment forms simply are not fit for purpose for ME. Now, I'm going to concentrate on ME with this video, obviously, because that's the community that we represent. However, this is also the case for Parkinson's, MS, autism, mental health issues, and many others. So although we've created a project, an initiative that is ME focused, it could very easily be rolled out to many other conditions because charities that are in charge of the representation of those illnesses also feel the same way. I've been sat in on meetings where other organisations have spoken up for their community in DWP meetings, and they're literally told, we are not taking that suggestion because it is condition specific. They want to keep everything generic, and it's well known within the ME community, and I'm assuming amongst many other patient groups, that the DWP seems to make it as difficult as possible for anyone to apply for benefits, which is why when I hear that people are taking the mickey, I'm like, have you seriously ever filled in that form? Ever? Because it is like running the gauntlet. You manage to get through the phone call, which for me personally was 27 minutes just to give my name, address and date of birth, or that's what I thought it was for, but it was a 27-minute phone call. Then you have, I can't remember how long it is, but let's just say 30 pages. I can't remember, but that's what it feels like. 30-page document asking you all sorts of weird and wonderful questions about, can you go to the toilet? What assistance do you need? And I would say the vast majority of questions are not suitable for people living with fluctuating conditions, including ME. And then you go to an assessment and you're treated like absolute dirt. And I've got personal experience of that. And you wait for the report to turn up, and it isn't an accurate representation of what you lived through in that assessment. I personally was told, yeah, I know all about your illness. Oh, it's awful. Oh, no, this is fine. And I know what I'm talking about. And I had my dad in with me because my ME was particularly bad that day. And my dad was sat there as a neutral person just to make sure that I was okay, didn't speak. And on the way home, he said, oh, you should be fine. They understood what ME is. Let's just wait and see the report, because I was really worried, like every other person that goes through a DWP assessment. And the report turned up, and I made my dad read it, and he said that was not the assessment that I sat in on. They used the degree master's degree that I'd studied for a decade before against me. when actually PIP is not an out of work benefit. The fact that I studied 10 years ago is neither here nor there. Anyway, so that's just to give you an idea of what the process is like, and why for many years I've known that it needed reform. So when the government started talking about reform, I was thinking, okay, let's try not to be a cynic. Let's see how we go from here. And on face value, it looked like, this could lead to something positive. Let's think positive from the outset. So that's what I did. However, when that green paper was launched, and when we were told in many DWP meetings, we will not be taking questions or suggestions on XYZ as part of the green paper, we will only talk about this. The 4 points rule is not open to negotiation. If you want to know anything, you have to submit a freedom of information request. So I and a couple of volunteers have been submitting freedom of information requests to the DWP for 4 months. And they've now published this. So for a bit of background, for months, we've been asking the DWP to get their job coaches to do our training, because at the time that was the only training that was appropriate. There is no other training that's not specifically, this is how you diagnose someone with ME, because it goes into how it presents, what support we need in working environments, etc., etc. So for years, since 2019, I've been having meetings with DWP at various levels, and I've always been told, oh yeah, we need to learn, yeah, blah, blah. Never came to anything. And then all of this reform talk was coming about. And I know for a fact it's not just me that's been asking, why is the DWP not doing the training that already exists? Because you're reinventing the wheel, wasting money, wasting time. You could implement this, because our training is pretty much off the shelf. You literally go, you buy a license and you can train all of your staff. You could buy 50 licenses in one hit, pay for it, and they could do all that training within 24 hours. That is why I find it so frustrating that I've had the door slammed in my face with the DWP, particularly since 2019. Anyway, so about 6 months ago, I found out the DWP will not take suggestions or advice from charities or third sector, will not do any pre-existing training offered by third sector organisations because of bias. Now, if you're calling lived experience and reinforced by evidence-based research, information, our entire training is backed up with research. We've got a further reading section and a reference list that is huge. So it's not, it's biased as in put the patient first. We want patient-centered care or person-centered care in workplaces or schools. That is as far as the bias goes. And we present ME as what it is. It's a biological disease that significantly impacts lives, and that's why we need care and support greater than what we've been receiving. Anyway, so now I've been told that I'm biased and we're not going to take anything from you because, you're not going to, it's not going to be right. So I saw the ME Association posted the DWP's training, so I had a look at it. And it's substandard, not fit for purpose. I no idea who created it. I've asked the DWP freedom of information request 4 times, because anyone that doesn't know anything about ME, the NHS does not know what ME is. If you go into hospital or see a GP, more often than not, they've never had any training on ME. They're more than likely to tell you it's anxiety, or to misdiagnose you as having something else, or tell you all of your tests are coming back clear. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. The specialists tend to be private clinicians. One works in Harley Street. They've worked in ME for decades. And when I say they, I mean literally 4 or 5 people. And our community is now over 1 million. It's 1.25 million. So those specialists tend to be attached to charities and third sector organisations. So if they are not taking advice from third sector, who exactly created that training? That's our big concern, because the training that's now being rolled out across the DWP, apparently, probably take years, but apparently, doesn't accurately represent what ME is and is not. So that's not going to improve our assessments. It's not going to help us to accurately work out who needs financial support and who doesn't, which I find absolutely crackers. Anyway, so trust me, ME community, we've been trying so hard to get our training into the DWP for the past 6 years. So for them to now say, no, you're biased, we only want in-house training, but then they're not being transparent about who created it. Anyway, so all this has been going on in the background. I now have limited expectations as to what their training is going to look like, what their future assessments are going to look like, because they are not listening to charities and third sector who say, actually, unless you are condition specific, these assessments are not fit for purpose. Okay, so we launched a framework over the weekend. And the reason we've done that is because we want to reach as many MPs as possible between now or over the weekend and the 1st of July, because this isn't just, you know, oh, you're picking on disabled people. Yeah, you know, how dare you take the money off us? This is unfair. This is not the way to do it. As I've said already, the DWP is incredibly cynical. They do punitive things, and it's kind of, you know, oh, look how badly we're treating disabled people. There's no waste here. You know, it's really hard to get, yeah, it is really hard to get benefits. But now DWP is saying, we have to take more money off them because it's costing too much money. And what we're saying is there is another way. The way you're doing it has been wrong for 3 decades. It's proven to be wrong. You've admitted that it's now costing you more and more money. So obviously being punitive does not work. It's not that people that shouldn't be receiving benefits are receiving benefits. It's that the way that your processes work are not fit for purpose. So, as I said, we launched a framework over the weekend. You can check it out on stripylightbulb.com. There is a web page and our latest blog. I've put the webpage and the blog link in the chat. I'm assuming that that's going to be in there now. If not, I'll put it on the text after. But yeah, this is the core of the issue. So I'm going to read it from the screen. So we've launched an evidence-based assessment framework designed specifically for individuals with ME. We're calling for a more accurate, compassionate and cost-saving alternative to proposed welfare reforms. And this is why it matters. The current one-size-fits-all model fails fluctuating conditions like ME, but I've already mentioned MS, Parkinson's, autism and mental health, just to name a few. Person-centred reform reduces appeals, improves accuracy and restores public trust. The DWP lost 69% of PIP tribunal appeals in 23-24, costing £50 million plus, and it was preventable waste. This is what I mean. Draconian punitive measures do not save money. What we're proposing, Stripy Lightbulb, is a new assessment framework centred on lived experience and clinical evidence, focus on post-exertional malaise, cognitive dysfunction and fluctuating symptoms. Apologies for the typo. More accurate decisions, less harm to claimants and reduced legal costs. And let's move from policy failure to forward-thinking solutions. It's time to support a benefit system that works for people and public funds. So the benefit system is broken, so we built something better. And we've now introduced our ME benefit assessment framework. This is what it looks like. So if you see it on our website, this is what I'm talking about. Enhancing the benefit assessment process for individuals with myalgic encephalomyelitis. It does matter. As I've said, our community is now 1.25 million people in this country. And I would say the vast majority have never been able to apply successfully for PIP. Even though someone like me loses 50% of functionality, when I went to the job, so this is personal experience. So last year, you'll all know that working tax credit moved over to universal credit. So I had to start going to the job centre regularly because, believe it or not, running a not-for-profit doesn't make a lot of money. How surprise, who knew? So I went, and she said, why are you not on PIP? If you've had ME at this level for, well, I'd say I've worsened in the last 5 years, but, you know, I've had this level for at least 5 years. And she said, if you can't work more than, say, at the time it was 20 hours a week. So if you really struggle with your energy levels and your cognitive impairment and your post-exertional malaise, fortunately, in a weird way, not for the person that's got it, but her friend's got really bad long COVID. So she said, I kind of understand the energy levels, and I've been encouraging her to apply for PIP. Why are you not? So she encouraged me to apply for PIP. Guess what? I was denied. I didn't even get 1 point across the board on anything. And because of the mental drain, and it knocked my energy levels for about a month after I did the application, I just thought it's not worth it. So yes, I'm entitled to it, apparently, according to the DWP. But their assessors said no. So anyone watching this that doesn't know anything about ME, the reason I'm doing the video now is because I know in an hour I won't be able to communicate. I'll have slurred speech. I won't be able to string 2 words together. The effort of doing this video will wipe me out. So when you go to an assessment, this notion of, oh, well, you've managed to get here, you've managed to walk along the corridor and sit down and answer all of my questions means there's nothing wrong with you. There's absolutely no understanding that participating in that assessment will wipe that person out for days, if not weeks afterwards. There's no understanding of that. And that's why it needs to be condition specific, because although with ME it's energy, with another condition it'll be something else. Whatever their niche issue is, the DWP does not understand it and doesn't take it into consideration when it does its assessment. So if you want to check out our framework, check out the framework on the website. But then, like I say, I've put information and shareable resources, and because I understand fully the nature of ME specifically, perhaps you've got a long COVID diagnosis at the moment, but if you've got post-exertional malaise, you are more than likely to get an ME diagnosis. If you've got post-exertional malaise and you're my words are going, see? Do you see? I was slurring my words throughout my PIP assessment, but in the report it said I had absolutely no problem communicating. That's the level of cynicism that we're dealing with the DWP. Forgetting words, memory issues, slurring words, all evident in a PIP assessment. Anyway, yes, so what I'm asking for between now and the 1st of July, bombard your social media networks with the posters that I've created, and I'll share them again. I think there's about 4 there for you to share, all from a different angle, but kind of all saying that actually it's the processes and the system that's broken. It's not claimants taking the mickey. Please do share everywhere. Share the framework. Get your MP to read it. Because I'm pretty sure MPs are thinking, well, this must be the best way forward, because surely the DWP is doing this properly and opening the consultation up for input. They don't know that charities and third sector organisations have been told you cannot contribute in this way or that way to this consultation or to this research. And I should say, this morning, I've now sent this to the DWP contacts that I have. I've sent it to the Welsh government because this is impacting people in Wales, and we've done extensive work in Wales now. And I've literally said, can you help me to get this in front of the people that deal with welfare in Wales? If you've got any contacts specifically with the UK government, the DWP, please share them with me, because I want to share. If you don't want to yourself, share it with me and I'll contact them direct. But this is all hands on deck, because we've now got a week to say cuts is not the way forward. And instead of just saying, don't take our money, please don't take our money, you're being out of order, it's kind of, no, this is our suggestion for an alternative. You know, this is a workable, actionable thing for you to do so that you are not harming disabled people even further. I should say that I personally think the DWP systems have been set up to make as many people fail as possible. Not only do we know that DWP discriminates against their own disabled staff, there have been recent articles and newspaper articles about that. And they've been taken to court for it. So for example, the DWP does work capability assessment and PIP. And those departments do not communicate with each other. And I know that because I was asked to apply for both at the same time. And when I applied for the work capability assessment, I couldn't find a certain piece of evidence. But there was a strict deadline. I literally had 3 days to fill in this really long form. So I did that. And then I had 2 days longer to do the PIP one. So the PIP form was like the second one that I did. And I found all the evidence that I needed. So I contacted my job coach and I said, oh, can you share that with the PIP team so they have that evidence? She said, no, because there is no way for me to communicate with the PIP team. Sorry, but you've missed the opportunity now. And that's how I personally found out that those two departments do not talk to each other. How is that cost effective or efficient? Why, when someone applies for work capability assessment or vice versa, or they're on universal credit, but they should be getting the health element, why does that member of staff not say, actually, this person is also eligible for PIP, here's their application form? Because that would be person-centred. It doesn't make any sense. And that doesn't mean that someone would be getting PIP when they're not entitled to it. They would still have to go through the assessment and all the rest of it. But the paperwork, why can't you just have one form? How does your disability affect you? And then that member of staff who's been medically trained and should know what they're talking about can say, actually, this person is entitled to this, this, and this. One step quicker, doesn't cost as much with admin, doesn't need as many staff. This is how you save money, because we're not being given thousands of pounds every month. This is hundreds of pounds. So, as for incentives, try living off benefits is really not an incentive. All these people that say, I know someone that's pulling a fast one. No, you don't. Have you never heard of non-disclosure? How do you know that person hasn't got an invisible disability that they simply are too stigmatized to talk about? You have no idea what's going on in that person's life. I didn't used to broadcast my ME for the first 10 years of having it. I wasn't on benefits, but that's neither here nor there. And I just think, what right have you got to judge other people when you have no idea what their personal circumstances are? But I've seen there's millions of people that are pulling a fast one, apparently. Oh, I know someone. Do you? Huh. Okay. Anyway, so this is my suggestion of how we get fit for purpose, adequate reform. And we need MPs to know that there is an alternative. Like I said, I've concentrated on ME, but this is the case for many other conditions as well, though obviously they will have their own specific framework that would need to be created and implemented. But yeah, please help me to spread the word. Get in touch if you want. It's info@stripylightbulb.com with any thoughts, suggestions, emails for me to send. I'm just going to be bombarding as many people as I can possibly think of between now and the 1st of July. Please do engage, take part. This is a positive, proactive. Please do consider the alternative, because at the moment that alternative is not being considered. It can't be, because most of the consultation isn't open for discussion. Most of the green paper is like, no, we're doing that. You can't consult with us on that. And that includes the 4 points. Anyway, thank you very much for listening.